Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a free comic book day rapid fire review. So I got 6 free comic book day official books. I got more if you want to go check out my haul for other books, and I wanted to review them. You know, in the past couple of years, I didn't really review the free comic book day books, and you know, a lot of people ask, oh, review the Marvel book, review the DC book, review this book. So I decided last year to do a rapid fire video, so I don't have 10 billion free comic book day videos, and instead just have it all in one video, and I'm able to cover as many books as I can. And this year I actually read all the free comic book day books I had, which were, again, about 6 books from the official brand of free comic book day. So let's get started. We're going to number 6, and again, this is the same format I usually do for Comic Uno episode, where I review all the comics I read for that week in one show. So if you want to go check out that, if you like this format, that's on Comic Frontline. So let's start out with number 6, which was Guardians of the Galaxy issue 1, because it's a free comic book day book. So I really didn't like the Guardians storyline, and I actually didn't pick up all new Guardians this week because I had a feeling I was burnt out by Guardians of the Galaxy. I read all of Brian Michael Bendis' run, which was what, like 5 years now? Maybe, probably shorter, but I think it was about 5 years. And, you know, I liked it. There were some ups with the series, but overall got really fatigued for a franchise I never was that into, besides liking the movie. But yeah, this one was very much in tone of the movie, and it was action heavy, and I didn't really feel like it sold me on the book, especially the artwork. I wasn't a big fan of it, the way the pencils were, and the heavy line work we got to see with it, but then the simplicity of little Groot, and I don't know how Baby Groot became Baby Groot in the comics. Did that randomly happen? I don't know. But once again, I'm not caught up with Guardians. I'm gonna be dropping it for a little while. But let's move on to the second story, which is the real reason why I got this, which was the Defender story. Now this is a book I am really excited for. It's Dave Marquez, one of my favorite artists, and Brian Michael Bendis, and it's Jessica Jones talking to Diamondback, which we find out is Diamondback in the end. Really ties into the Netflix shows a lot, so if you want a book that ties into the media Marvel, this book kind of does it. But I felt like the dialogue between Diamondback and Jessica was kind of boring, and then I didn't really get a Defenders feel to it. Like, I wanted to actually see these characters together. It just kind of felt like, this is the Netflix world, and we're doing something with it. Artwork was gorgeous, though, so that was a positive. I do hope the actual story is better, and this is just kind of a preview. But yeah, overall, I'm going to give this issue 2.5 stars. Wasn't a big fan of the Guardian story, and was disappointed with the Defenders story. But still, obviously, will pick up Defenders when that comes out. Now, moving on to number 5, another book I was semi-disappointed with because I love the television show, and that is Fresh Off the Boat. Now, I love Fresh Off the Boat. I mentioned this in my haul. It's one of my favorite comedies. I think it's great, and I was really looking forward to this book. It was one of my most anticipated free comic book day books, and overall, I felt like it tied into a certain episode of Fresh Off the Boat too much. So the latest episode of Fresh Off the Boat was a superhero story of Emery and Eddie creating a comic book. So that comic book was pretty much sold for free comic book day, or given for free. But it makes references to that episode in particular, and that's kind of weird for a comedy, because I feel like with this show you can really watch it out of order. It's not serialized in any means. It's not like The Good Place, where you literally have to watch every episode to kind of get the story. It's not that type of comedy. It's a sitcom, so you can really watch it whenever, and it's not one of those shows that you have to watch on time or else you'll be spoiled, you know? It's definitely a binge show. So for me, I usually don't watch it the day of. I watch it throughout the week. Usually my ABC comedies I just like watch on Hulu. So it was weird that I did a review for Newsarama, so I had to watch the episode before reading this comic, just because it was so tied into that episode. So I don't think a comic should feel that way for a television show that is not very serialized. And also the superhero action was a little cliche and generic, and I felt like they tried to fit too many Avengers in there. If they had one, I think it would have been a lot cleaner. But I will say I like the ambition of this story, to tie in a comic book from an episode is pretty cool. I like that, and once again, it was just cool to kind of see your fresh off the boat characters in a different way. So overall, I'm going to give this comic 3 stars, and now it's number 5. Moving on to number 4, which was I Hate Image issue 1, and I will say I Hate Fairyland is not my type of humor, even though I'm very fine with gruesome humor. It just, for some reason, doesn't make me laugh. This particular series, it's just not my humor. But what I liked about this issue was, of course, her going into these different worlds. It was seeing The Walking Dead and making fun of Rick calling Carl his name 20,000 times. Carl, do this, Carl. And then even seeing some surprises. We got M from Revival in there. That was cool. We even got like a little section for Paper Girls, and you guys know I love that series. So if you're an Image fan, I think you're gonna have a blast just kind of looking at the references. I don't know if Gertrude herself was that funny, so that was like a minus for me, but if you're an Image fan, this is a must-have. So I Hate Image gets 3.5 stars. Alright, so now we're moving on to number 3, which is a book I kind of got at a whim, but I really enjoyed, and that was Attack on Titan issue 1. So it's the Free Comic Book Day Attack on Titan, which is from Kodansha Comics. And when I was surprised by this, it wasn't a manga style. I thought it was going to be in black and white, but they actually do take a comic book style here. Not the same art as Attack on Titan. I've seen the art before for the manga and obviously the anime. It's not as detailed or as moody as that style of artwork, and that is a negative, but the story was interesting. It's about this girl who misses her brother because her brother died, and she just doesn't care anymore. She wants to get out of that wall. She doesn't care if the Titans kill her, and that's pretty much the story. It was cool. Again, does it tie in so much to Attack on Titan, the regular cast? I don't think so. Again, I'm not like the hugest Attack on Titan fan, but I don't really think it attached to that storyline, but it's a cool side story, and if you like the franchise, I think it's worth reading. So Attack on Titan gets 3.5 stars, and that was number 3. Moving on to number 2, which was Secret Empire, issue 1. Very surprising, because I haven't really liked Secret Empire, but I thought the beginning story was pretty solid. Artwork was gorgeous by Sorrentino, who does the artwork here. That was a big plus for me, and I like that it was more in the hero's point of view of like, oh my god, Captain America did that, so it was their shock. So I enjoyed that aspect of the issue. It gave you something different from Secret Empire, and that's pretty much all that happens, but really what got me was the secondary story. As you guys know, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and we get a little glimpse of Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, which I've been on the fence with because I love the concept. I love that it's Peter Parker interacting with the supporting characters, but I haven't really gotten into the writer's comics. Usually his comedy is not really for me. You know, I've read some of his stuff before, but I was really impressed with this book. At least the beginning scene between Mary Jane and Peter was so much fun. I love their back and forth, even just as friends. The Vulture part gets a little boring and cliche, and hey, I've seen this type of scene before. But then in the end, it picks up again where we get introduced to a new character. So I honestly thought this was a really good preview for Spider-Man, and that's why this was a bit higher. It was mostly because of the Spider-Man preview, but I was surprised by Secret Empire also. So overall, I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. So what was number 1? Number 1, of course, was The Loud House. Now, I did an in-depth review for this on Comic Frontline if you want me to go through all the stories, but I love The Loud House. It's one of my favorite shows, and I really think this comic brought that show to life in a new medium, because the show is very much about the aesthetic of comic book strips, and it really brings that to life here. And I think you get storylines for either if you're a fan of The Loud House and you know The Loud House, you get some good storylines here, fresh stuff that reference other episodes, but also I feel like it's a good introduction to The Loud House if you've never seen the show. It introduces the sisters, which is a huge cast, so that's an accomplishment all in itself to introduce all these sisters. So overall, I gave this 4 stars. I thought it was a really solid book. It is for new readers and fans of the show already, and that's all you can really ask for here. And of course, I will be reviewing There Will Be Chaos, the volume 1 of The Loud House that comes out this Tuesday on Amazon, so that's when I'll be getting it, and I will review it for Comic Uno. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about the Free Comic Book Day books this this year. I thought there were some solid reads. I do think that some companies missed opportunities to bring out original stories, but overall, the books I read, I had a fun time with. So let me know in the comments below what you thought. This is Comic Uno. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, description below, there are links for my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter, and don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. I'll see you guys later. Bye.